This is the Infinity Summit Group. Truth, passion, success.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Infinity Summit Group podcast. So this is our intro episode. We're going to tell you a little bit kind of who we are, and then why we do what we do, and where we're hoping to take this thing. So first of all, we got our main message. The Infinity Summit Group is built upon the idea that anybody can succeed. We are committed to creating a foundational knowledge of finance, politics, and spiritual principles that will contribute to the progression of our generation and mankind as a whole. Our ultimate goal is that anybody can see a clear and defined pathway to a successful and fulfilling life. So our first talking point is we actually tried to start this group a while back. It was about a year and a half ago.
I'd say it was about a year ago, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, tried to start the Infinity Summit Group or something similar to it about a year ago. And we had meetings like we do now. We had a very similar group. We had a couple more members. And we just kind of want to talk about why and how that one failed. First off, I'm going to say we didn't have the commitment that we do in this group for sure. Didn't have the sheer will to make it to these meetings that we do with this group.
We also had a lot less structure and a lot less planned for what we were going to do. It was more kind of let's just wing it.
It was a good idea. We had a good idea behind it, just nothing, no, how do I say that? No substance.
A noble cause founded upon sand, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was very interesting. And we had a couple members that didn't want to show up, or we had one of them, he actually ended up blossoming into a successful investing career. He ended up traveling out of state to do that. And so that was already one member of the core group gone. That was right out the gate. A mistake, I believe. And then we had another member who really didn't see the value in the group, or didn't have the same conviction as the rest of us. And I think it truly just we weren't at a point in our lives where we were ready to create something like that. It was more, yes, that's a good idea, and that's where it stopped.
Yeah, it almost felt like more of a joke than like being serious about it.
Yeah, I feel like we joked around a lot more back when we first tried to do this, as opposed to now. Like, everybody's pretty serious and pretty focused on it. You know, we have fun here and there, but it's mostly focus and work and ideas. So creative ideas, and I love it. So.
Yeah, and before we get too far into this, I'd like to introduce us. I'm Noah. I'm one of the founders of the Infinity Summit Group, and I've since joining the group done a couple things with budgeting and all that jazz. But I'm kind of our website designer. I do some of the social media stuff, things like that.
I'd also add your coordinator and kind of the meeting layout. Like, you're good at the structure of the meetings, I would say.
I do a lot of the talking.
Yeah, he does a lot of the talking.
There you go.
My name is Sidney Xavier Ewing. I do a lot of the audio stuff, all the audio editing, anything that has to do with the podcast or audio, I'm there. And then I also run two of the social media pages that we have, among other things. So.
And thank you for that. That is so much work, hours and hours. He actually recently, just to get this beginning podcast to work, he recently pulled an all-nighter to figure this thing out. So thank you for that.
Mm-hmm. I'm Logan Couch. I'm the person that runs the Twitter account so far, and then just attend every meeting and started working on my own personal goals and group goals. Done budgeting, got the whole life policy set up, doing just a couple things to grow for myself and for the group.
Yeah, I'm Jesse, and I run another one of the social media accounts, and all I've done is mostly the budgeting and the whole life and trying to just figure out what goals I want and where we're going and what I need to do to get there.
Yeah, so let's from there, let's jump straight into our logo. That was quite a few weeks in the making. We ended up hiring a guy on Fiverr. It was definitely not the cost of a Fiverr, but it ended up being worth it. I love our logo.
Yeah, it turned out really well.
It really did. We had the first version. Well, we had a couple different versions. We sat down. I remember the exact day we sat down. We all came up with some really good ideas and kind of meshed all our ideas into one logo and gave it meaning. Like every single color has meaning. Like the logo has very significant value to what we're representing. And the first one we sent in, he came back. We said we liked it, and then we kind of mulled over it for, I would say, about a week. And then we found a little issue with it, and then we had to send it back and get it redone. So we ended up getting it exactly how we wanted it, and I'm pretty happy with it now. So
Do you happen to remember that guy's name on Fiverr or his username or anything?
I don't. I could absolutely look it up easily.
Yeah, if you can find it, we can post a link with the podcast or something to that guy.
That would be cool.
Because that was way cool of him to go back after we had finished the commission, everything was done, and then we went back and said, hey, I know we're all done for, but we want to change this if at all possible. We just noticed it, and he was a great guy. Willingly did it. Did he end up ever charging us more?
No, he didn't charge us more. He gave us a rate, and then we tipped him because, it comes with a tip, but I think we ended up tipping him a little more, too, afterwards.
Oh, okay,
So,
good,
yeah.
good.
Yeah, we tipped him a little extra for doing that because he didn't have to go, through and redo it because we told him it was fine and done. We had already paid him, so that was pretty cool of him to do that.
Yeah, for any of you wanting to create your own logo or anything like that, graphic art, then we'll put his information from Fiverr on the podcast in a link or something. So about this logo, it's a silver summit with an oak tree right on top of it, and then in the oak tree's branches we have a silver infinity sign. The purpose of the silver is the fact that we absolutely love commodities here at the Infinity Summit Group. They are a great store of value, and they have been since civilizations have existed. Gold and silver have been valuable for thousands of years. So those are a great store of value, and therefore we have a silver summit as well as an infinity sign that is silver. The oak tree is one of the strongest types of trees out there, and that kind of symbolizes our strong foundation, our strength, our will, because this group, I mean, our motto is passion, truth, success. It was created on that foundation, that strong foundation of passion, and continues to emblazon forth on that passion. And we've created quite a bit. I mean, here we are creating our first podcast. We've got a website, social media sites, and online store, all that jazz. Speaking of, if you guys would like to see kind of our journey through that, we have that on our blog, as well as the merchandise through the store on our website. It's www.infinitysummitgroup.com. So feel free to check us out if you'd like, and support us if you like our message.
Yeah, it's been real cool. We put a lot of work into it this time around. It's been awesome.
Absolutely have. We've come way too far to just give up this time and let it fall apart.
No turning back.
Yeah, there's no turning back here.
Yep. And then to add to the commodities like silver and gold, as a group we bought, what was it, about $600 in silver?
Yep. Yeah, we did buy $600 in silver.
So, yeah, that's pretty exciting. Plan to do some more of that for sure.
Mm-hmm. I would also add with the silver thing, this might be personal for me, but I feel like silver as opposed to gold is very flashy and just kind of out there a little too much. And I feel like the silver gives it a little more subtle tone, like we're still reaching high, but not boasting about it. You know what I mean?
Gold is a pretty gaudy color.
Yeah,
That's-
it's very.
Yes.
Look at me.
Silver is more of an aspiring color.
Exactly.
So we're aspiring towards that summit, towards that infinity sign. And once we reach the summit, we've got that much further to go. So let's talk a little bit about that motto. We chose passion, truth, success in that order because our group was founded on passion. We actually had one of our members, Xavier, he gave me a call one day and he said, "Hey, Noah, I really liked that Infinity Summit group that we created about a year back. Have you considered starting it up again?" And I had thought about it many a time. I just didn't have we'll call it the catalyst that sparked me into action until he called me, and I was like, yes, 100 times yes. I love the cause of that group. And so we ended up creating this entire Infinity Summit group out of literally nothing.
Yeah, it was just a couple of calls. We were on the phone for several hours, for several days, talking about it and just kind of figuring out how we would run the meetings and what we stood for. So I feel like we probably spent more time talking about this second group than we even did on the first group, I would say.
Yeah, then we even met.
Yeah.
Agreed. And so after passion comes truth, and we are in an active search for the truth. Nowadays you have all this, we'll call it fake news, and all sorts of lying news stations that they don't give you the whole truth. They'll give you half-truths. And a half-truth is as good as a lie because you're bending the truth. So what we strive for here at the Infinity Summit Group is to discover the truth in every situation. And that's not only in every situation, but also with our finances, with anything you do in life. You must have that truth as a foundational support.
Even if the truth is ugly and people don't want to know the truth, I want to, have this group find the truth in everything, like he was saying. And even if it's something that, hurts people's feelings or whatever it is, I feel like honesty is the best policy for everything.
'Tis a tad harsh, but as Ben Shapiro said, the facts don't care about your feelings.
Yeah, finding the truth is more beneficial in the long run anyways. Instead of getting your feelings appealed for now, it's better to know for later, I guess, and grow from your whatever you're not doing, I guess.
Most definitely. And so our third word in our motto is success, and that is where this group is headed. We're headed towards success upon our foundations of passion and truth. That's the end goal, is success, and showing others how to create that success within themselves as well.
Building from the ground up, like he's saying, success. And a lot of what we focused on, I feel like lately, or was the starting, is to record everything that we're doing and kind of posting even like the beginning stages, even when it's not the final product. We'll post everything. So it's kind of laying out a map to show people, like, this is what it takes to get there.
Yeah, a lot of work. But we have moved very quickly as well.
Yeah.
Giving ourselves a solid foundation to build on, I think, at least.
How long do you guys say we've been at this? Like 5 months, maybe?
We started
Probably
in
right
April.
around
April.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So however long that is, it's September now.
All right, let me just check.
Mm-hmm.
June, July, August, September.
About 6.
October will be 6.
Okay, so we're
just about there.
real
Yeah.
close to 6 months right now, and yeah, it's been a heck of a lot of work. We've met almost every week. I think it was after May, then we started meeting weekly, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've met almost every single week since then.
Twice sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes twice a week.
Yeah.
If
Goodness.
one of us doesn't pull through.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And we have a group chat that we discuss it all in as well. So
Yeah, video chats, group chats, in-person meetings. It's been hours and hours. I'm glad we've gotten where we've gotten, though. It's been fun.
It's been good, and I want to just thank the group for the integrity that we've all had. I feel like even if somebody makes a mistake or doesn't kind of produce what they promised, they either make it right as soon as possible or face the consequences. And honestly, we don't try to hide anything, be deceiving at all. I think it's a very good group, very integrated.
And that leads us into our first principle that the group is founded upon is integrity. And that includes honesty, that includes trustworthiness, that includes just being a good person in general. Being honest with oneself, that's a huge thing.
Very underrated.
Yeah, that's
like a classic good man, good person.
Yes,
a well-rounded good person.
And nobody's perfect. We all know that. But the fact that you are striving for that perfection is where the integrity comes in. Our next principle is to provide value for those around us while raising ourselves. Like we talked about in our motto, the success portion of our motto, we want to become a very successful group. We want to, and not necessarily from the Infinity Summit group, but within our own lives, our investments, our jobs, whatever we pursue, we want to be good at it, and we want to become the best at it. And we want to show those around us that it is possible to start with nothing and succeed from there.
Literally.
Step by step.
Yeah, that's I think a big reason why we post so much or about on our blog and everything, so that we can have a step-by-step process, because a lot of other podcasts or books and stuff, they just kind of say, this is what you do once you're there. Mm-hmm. And I guess the idea we wanted to push forward is this is how you get to there, and then where the other ones become more tangible, more relevant, other books and other things.
Mm-hmm.
It's way more personable.
I feel like it would be cool to create a book guide, like steps in a journey. Like, here, read this book first and then go to this book, and then that'd be kind of cool to create. And maybe that wouldn't work for every single person, because everybody's going through different things, and every book would relate differently to everybody. But
we could always do it
there's some good foundational ones, like Richest Man in Babylon.
That's a good one.
I mean, if you're looking for spiritual stuff, you've got The Alchemist. You've got all sorts of fun and intriguing books that we could put on there. But yeah, that's not a bad idea. And that leads us into our next principle is know your foundation. Especially now. So going on around us, we've got these protests, we've got these riots, we've got all this stuff, and it's just fueled by so much hatred. It's not even by people who know what they stand for. It's just that they know that they're absolutely against everything that we'll say the right stands for. Or we've got equally people on the right that all they know is that they hate everything on the left. They have no clue why. They stand upon sand, because when you ask them why, their answer is incoherent and drops their IQ rating quite heavily.
Yep, I'd say so.
This is all about knowing why you believe what you believe.
And I'd definitely say we're going to go have another podcast about that, because there's a lot. We could go way deeper into that. But
yeah. As this is an intro, we'll just provide a little sneak peek, and then we'll continue on. Our next principle is spiritual and monetary success. So we find that along with a good foundation, you must be, we'll call it spiritually in balance with yourself. Much like Kung Fu Panda's inner peace, you got to have some sort of calm in your inner life to create calm and success in your outer life. And that's what we strive for. We post a lot on Pinterest about different meditations and how to go about that and what you can do to create that inner calm. And then most of our other social media is towards the financial success aspect of everything.
Yeah, if you're an asshole before you're rich, you're just a rich asshole with money now. So You gotta have that spiritual side.
Yeah, there's actually a guy I listen to on YouTube. His name is Alan Watts. For those of you interested, but he has a saying that he takes from the Buddhas of the ancient East religions. He says, always meditate for 2 hours a day. Unless you don't have the time, then meditate for 3. And so our next principle is to be deliberate. This principle is so that we know exactly what we're doing in life, why we're doing it in life. It's all part of that foundational strength, that oak tree that we have. You gotta know why you're saying something. And we actually incorporated this into our group as a group goal that we all chose into. It was a swearing goal, so that when we swore, we paid $1 into what we call the infinity pool. And that's where we get most of our funds, is from this infinity pool, to purchase like podcasting equipment, things like that. Well, all of our funds. Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. It's been good. We've been setting lots of goals and achieving them by leaps and bounds. It's been fantastic. So we got to continuously set new goals to keep that pool funded.
Yeah. Yep.
It's been a very noble cause. So that swearing goal, I ended up paying quite a bit, but the idea of it was so that we could expand our vocabulary, because swear words are often used as filler words, much like so and like. Yeah. I don't know. There was a lot of filler words, and so we decided that swearing was one of those filler words that we could get rid of with ease. And we actually ended up doing pretty dang good. I find myself swearing, I don't know, maybe once a day, maybe. And it's very purposeful.
It's definitely helped us be more conscious about like our conversations and being more intimate, I guess, with people that you're talking to. You're not just cussing all the time. Yeah, to fill up the sentence, literally, it's pretty useless. So it's been a good goal and a good learning curve for especially me. I swear quite a bit, so it's been nice.
You got bar mouth. I definitely picked that up, but I love the idea of it, and it did work for a while. Me personally, I didn't feel like it was a challenge that I wanted to continue with, just because I don't feel like I swear as much as I used to, and I don't try not to use swears as filler words, so I opted out of that challenge. But it's like he was saying, it's mostly the idea of it, to be deliberate with your speech and kind of think about what you're saying before you say it.
Yeah, and you also rap, so that's real hard to not have swear words in there sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, for me, swear words are a passion thing. Like, it's hard to explain.
Purveys your passion.
Exactly, like it's an outlet to where you can get your emotion out in a word, and it kind of sums up a lot. Like, I'm not going to swear right here, but the F word, like, you can pour a lot into that word, and it can mean so much. But when you're just throwing it around, like, day to day, like, you don't really look classy, and people kind of get that image that you're not kind of tidying up your whole life. Because if you let your mouth slide a lot, then what else are you letting slip in your life? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point. Where one area of your life reflects all areas of your life.
I would say that applies to talking behind people's backs as well, because like, people aren't going to trust you if you talk behind their back.
Yep, that's true.
Your mouth, like what people say and how they say it, people notice, and they will, I don't want to say judge, but they do. People do judge people by the cover, by how they look, how they talk, how they present themselves. It's just absolutely going to happen, and that's just the truth of it. So,
yeah, and I do want to go back a little bit to where you said you opted out of this swearing goal. The Infinity Summit Group, we are 100% all about individual rights and freedoms and choice. everything we do is voluntarily chosen into, because we know ultimately the individual is the absolute source of value, creation, and being. So it's very, very important that he said he opted out of it. That is his choice, and we fully supported him in that, and all of us have opted out of other challenges. It's very important that we're founded upon that.
Yeah, and we're all very different too, in like what we like, and I'd say we've got a good structure, but we're all different. We've all got our different things, and like you're saying, everything's a choice, and we don't want to judge each other on what we're choosing to opt into or opt out of. It's like you were saying, freedom of choice. It's very important. Freedom in all things.
Yeah,
agreed.
And communication in this group. It's been a very, very big deal. For knowing what to bring to the groups, or like what we're gonna do, for the next podcast or stuff like that, or just in general, like if there's an issue in life, then we'll bring it up with the group, and it's very confidential, but we can help each other talk through it, and it has been a real blessing. At least in my life, it's helpful. So we appreciate
awesome.
That's
for sure.
good.
It's been way cool.
Yeah, just knowing there's a place you can go and say whatever's on your mind, and you're not going to be judged. You're going to be assisted through it. You're going to be, helped along. Nobody's gonna pity party you. They're not gonna say, "Oh, poor you." They're gonna say, "Okay, what can we do to fix it?"
Exactly, and I'm no stranger to that. I've obviously had a couple bad choices in my life. Definitely am, because we're not. At least I'm speaking for myself. I'm never gonna preach that I'm perfect or an angel or anything. Like, definitely got skeletons in my closet.
Yeah, we just so you listeners know, many of us started this group quite a bit in debt, and we have, since we started, just paid off a ton of debt and gotten smarter with our debt. So it's been fun to see that.
Which a cool example of getting smarter with our debt. Like today, I went and refinanced my car out of Noah's name to my own name.
We did have it jointly.
Yeah, it was joint. But either way, it ended up, when I was able to refinance it, ended up getting a better interest. So I got a cheaper car loan over time. I have a
shorter term too.
Shorter term, yeah. And
I'm winning on all accounts.
Yeah, and I have to pay less on my overall payment. So I got a 3.49% interest rate on my car, which is pretty stellar, especially for a 19-year-old. So pretty stoked about that.
Yeah, and as an example for something I ended up doing, I would not recommend this at all, by the way, unless you are absolutely sure of what you're doing. I ended up getting a credit card that had about half the interest rate of a previous credit card, and I cash advanced with that new credit card to pay off the old credit card. But the cash advance percentage that I had to pay off the old card did not equal the interest I would have paid. So it was a very smart move, and now I have since stopped use of that old credit card, and I only use the new one now. That's usually not a smart move, to pay off debt with more debt, but in this case it was, because the numbers made sense.
Get 4 lines of credit.
Loopholes.
Yeah, we'll bring this all up more later. All this financial stuff. This is one of our passions, is all this finance stuff. So let's go into our next principle. We here at the Infinity Summit Group, like Xavier was saying earlier, we don't believe that people fail. We believe that they simply learn. Kind of like, we view failing as kind of a Jordan Peterson version. He says that sinning is missing the mark, and so we view failing as just missing the mark. And so what happens when we fail or sin is we end up paying whatever amount we agreed to pay previously. We pay that into the infinity pool, and we call them incentives, because they are learning incentives. We learn from those mistakes, and we create success in the future beyond that.
Setting the goals and the incentives is really what's made everything work.
It's been so nice.
It pushes you for sure instead of being able to just kind of, who cares if it gets done? But now it's like, I got to get it done.
Yeah,
This is getting expensive.
Yeah, we've had commodity purchases. We've had that swearing goal. We've had computers. We've got like books that we've had to read. Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah. We
have
got to
speaking of,
1 week. We have 1 week.
We have 1 week.
Finished the first day.
Did you really?
Yeah.
To read.
I haven't even started.
Yeah, so
I've read it twice though already. But
yeah, the book we're reading right now is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. If you all want to read along, then we'll be reading that for the next week or so, and you guys are more than welcome to join. Anything else on that principle, guys?
I don't think so.
Okay, perfect.
I think you summed it up pretty well.
Awesome. So one does not fail, they simply learn, and when they do make a mistake or sin, then they have an incentive, and that drives them to not make those mistakes again, just to learn from them. And that leads us directly into our next principle, is to never stop learning. Every time we complete a goal, we create more. There's never an end. It's an infinity summit, a summit into infinity. We're always going to be pushing ourselves further and further towards success, both financially, spiritually, politically, whatever our chosen field, we're going to keep pushing ourselves. That's the point.
I was actually talking to my mom about this today. Staying stagnant. You can be grateful for where you're at and still want more. The problem is when people get too comfortable.
Gotta be hungry.
Yeah, it's staying hungry. And I think that's a good thing is people get too comfortable where they're at and they stop pushing themselves because they're content. And there's nothing wrong with being content. But when you lose that drive, that's something I don't ever want to do. I kind of fear that. I fear being mediocre and stagnating.
Agreed. And I see people when they stop trying, they stop learning, everything stops. Mostly I see this in people who retire or those stuck in a 9-to-5 job. They start to die. As soon as that happens, they start to die.
Yeah. From Alice in Wonderland, if you're not, what is it? You have to, I forgot what it was, but it's like if you're not running forward, then you're going backwards. Or it's like you have to run as fast as you...
still, you're going backwards?
Yeah, something like that. Like you have to run as fast as you can just to
stand still?
Just to stand still.
Yeah. So it's kind of what we believe here is you just got to push yourself to ever greater heights, harder and harder, and eventually you'll get to something that you can be proud of. While at the same time, we don't forget to look back at where we've come from and what we're doing in the moment. We don't want to forget about that. We don't want to always have our eyes on the future, but always have one eye towards the future.
Definitely.
And don't wait for an opportunity to fall in your lap.
You create them opportunities.
Yeah. Like what we
make
done
it
with
happen.
This podcast spent well over $1,000, and that's just of our own failures.
The infinity pool, yeah.
But for sinning. So
just this recording equipment alone cost us upwards of $1,200.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's all been from the challenges and incentives and sinning.
Well, 13 after last week. We ended up buying an updated program.
Yep, we've run into quite a few issues with the
This first podcast has been, 3 meetings in the making?
Yep.
3, yeah.
Just this intro has taken us at least 3 or 4 times.
It's been a lot of work.
Oh, it'll be worth it, though.
Yeah.
Freaking excited. So our next principle here is we like to walk the talk. Practice what you preach, live according to principles. And I need to reiterate that. Live according to what you say. So... we here at the Infinity Summit Group, we preach all these principles. We preach integrity, providing value to those around us, know your foundation, spiritual monetary success, deliberateness, and then only learning and always learning. We don't fail. We just have a blip and we learn. And we've been actively practicing these principles since day one and creating them refining them down to their core and exactly what we want to preach to the world.
Well, the swearing is a perfect example of being deliberate.
Yes.
Like it's the practicing what we preach in that sense, is we're all trying to be deliberate with not swearing and using better, more words or different words, I guess.
Exactly, and we've all been achieving these goals. We encourage success, progression, achievement, and we've been achieving our goals and just creating more and more, an eternal progression. It's been quite inspiring to watch and see where everyone's come from. We've got let's talk a little bit about what we've done so far. So we've got that swearing goal that we've been fantastic at. We got commodities both individually and as a group. We've gotten
whole life
policies. That's a big one, and we'll talk way more about whole life policies because those are going to be a very foundational element to our group. But essentially, they're just a very good savings vehicle, both for a financial foundation and as an opportunity fund, because they provide you pretty good interest. They about 4% on average. They give you good death benefit. They
dividends.
Give you dividends. That's right, and they've given dividends. I believe almost every year in their 100+ years of existing. These are private companies, by the way. They're not government run, so it's not a 401k or an IRA or anything. You can access these funds whenever you want. You can take loans against them while having your cash value grow. Yeah, I'll stop it there because I could get too excited. They're too much fun. But it's very enjoyable watching your financial foundation grow. Well, get started first and then grow. And we've been observing that in the past couple months. What are some of the other things we've got? I wrote a book. This is Noah. I wrote a book about. It was kind of my release growing up to write poetry, and so I wrote a book of poetry and posed it as life lessons because a lot of it is about very important lessons that one learns in life. There's ones about judgment. There's ones about suicide. There's ones about spiritual enlightenment. There's all sorts of different things that a growing adolescent boy might have an issue with, and it's a very good we'll call it rumination on those lessons.
And where can we find this book?
Oh, right. I have released this book on Audible and Kindle. It's
Not
called
Audible.
Not Audible.
Not Audible.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Amazon.
Working on Audible, Amazon, and Kindle. Thank you, guys. It's called Ruminations of the Adolescent Soul, and it's by Noah A. Kelch. Should be a cover with a kind of a sunrise thing on it. Pretty easy to see, and it's I think about around $8. So if you guys feel like getting that, feel free to, and might provide you some valuable lessons hopefully. Then we have Xavier over here who's, well, I'll let him talk about his stuff.
I've just been working on music, and since we started this group, actually, it's been a huge blessing because everybody here knows, but I used to abuse alcohol and drugs and substances and, be in massive amounts of debt, didn't know how to finance at all. And ever since we started this, I've been cleaning up the drugs, alcohol, haven't abused that since I started this. Got my finances in order, paid off most of my debt. I'm in a little bit of debt like right now, but nothing huge. And then just getting all this equipment has just been awesome for me because, audio and music is where my passion is, and that's what I love to do. And having this opportunity to do the podcast stuff, I'm like a kid in a candy store with all this, recording equipment, and even getting this new updated version of the DAW, D-A-W. It's basically the platform we use to record on.
And what is a DAW again?
A DAW. I don't know exactly what the acronym stands for, but it's basically
an audio recording platform, as far as I
platform.
understand, right?
Yeah, and it's got beats and whatnot. So I've definitely I've been playing with
it. It's like GarageBand on steroids.
Exactly. It's a lot. It's like a paid-for version of GarageBand. We're using Ableton Live 10 right now, if anybody's interested. And I have been playing with that a lot to make beats and whatnot. So
that leads us into our last principle. It is journey before destination. Like I was saying with our never stop learning, we want to not only look towards the future, but don't forget to enjoy where you're at. There's one thing that I ended up doing a while back. I had my father actually talk to me about this. I was stressing so much about the future and why I'm not 100 times ahead of where I am and all this stuff just going through my brain. Why aren't I retired yet? I'm 22, by the way. That was stupid of me to think, but it's a very real thought. And my dad said, hey, listen, make a list of all of your goals that you've had since high school, and even before that. Make a list of all of them, and then all the way through where you want to be, and check off the ones that you've completed, and just look at how far you've come versus where you started. And that helped a lot. I would highly recommend that for anyone having, we'll call it futuritis. Then, listing everything out, all your accomplishments, check them off. It makes you really, really grateful and appreciative, and puts you right back in the moment. Like, yes, okay, I am awesome, and let us continue.
Right. So basically, it's just saying don't get stressed out in the present because you're not seeing results. Like, be happy with the journey, because most of it is the journey. I mean, you're going to look back and be like, wow, I did a lot. And when you're in it, when you're doing it, when you're like trying to create these things, it may seem hard and it may seem like you're not getting anywhere. But like you said, writing down like what you did in the past and all the goals you have hit, it's just kind of looking back like, wow, I've actually come this far. What else can I do? How far can I go now if I've already done this, you know? So I love it.
I think another aspect of this journey before destination ties to integrity really well. Is how you get to where you're going is almost as important as where you're going.
Oh,
because
definitely. Getting
somewhere crooked or wrong or anything isn't as important as getting to your goal in the right way, the respectful and in a way to maintain integrity is very important.
The ends do not justify the means, because there are those who gain their wealth through suspicious means. We'll call it suspicious. Yeah.
Lack of a better word.
Yes. That's it's not the way to go about it. That is not what we believe here. We want to be entirely in integrity throughout the journey.
Give more than you take.
Exactly. And wherever you go, add value. Don't take away value. Don't be a value vampire.
Be a producer, not a consumer.
Yes. So let's talk about a little bit about where we've come from, just the group. First of all, we created a website. First go way back. We created a logo, and then we created a website. And that was many hours in the development process. It was I did it through Weebly.com, and I ended up spending probably a lot of days on that website trying to just make everything perfect and flow, and I continue to work on it. And that's where we got our online store that we've created. We actually created it in such a way that we don't have to store our products. They are outsourced. And so what happens is when and if you guys order merchandise, then the order goes straight to the production company. They produce it and ship it, and all the money goes through an intermediate company. We pay all the fees and everything, and then it shoots straight to you guys. So it's actually a pretty cool process, something I didn't know existed. Similar to drop shipping from what I hear.
It's pretty similar, yeah.
Yeah, it's very similar to drop shipping.
Okay, awesome.
Just about the same thing, honestly.
I almost fell into the trap of one of those YouTube ads, and it's like,
oh, yeah?
get into it's Amazon or drop shipping. And I tried it.
Cool.
Like, it's a cool idea, but I tried it, and it's a lot more work than they let out that it is.
It was so much work to set up.
Joke. It's such a joke.
I know.
I bet you do, and it looks amazing, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
The website does
Thank
look
you very
very
much.
good.
Way good.
Yeah, and on that website, again, for those of you who missed it the first time, it's www.infinitysummitgroup.com, and that's got our blog on there. It's got our merchandise tab. It's got any resource you could need. Say any of our social medias.
Lots of book recommendations.
Yes, we've got a huge list of Audible books. That's the biggest reason that I direct people to that website is you got to learn. Get learned. Because it's very important. Yeah. So we created that website. We have social media platforms. We've got a Facebook. We've got an Instagram. Got a Twitter, a Pinterest, a Minds account, and that's MINDS. That's like a free speech Twitter. For those of you who do not know, I had no clue what it was until Jesse over here introduced me to it. It's a pretty cool concept. Do you know kind of how that works? What makes it free speech at all?
I just heard it from Tim Pool.
I think
YouTube is it?
Okay, yeah. I think you were telling me it works kind of like you can't get censored kind of thing, or if they try to censor you, you have to go before your posts go before like a jury of
I think so, yeah.
Just random people. It's not biased.
Yeah, it's just a couple of random people decide your fate essentially on whether something is against the rules or not.
Yeah, and I believing in the general goodness of humanity. Think that's a very, very good idea as long as it's not abused, and it's definitely an unbiased source from what I've seen. It's not very big yet, so it's been quite fun to be posting on there. What else we got? We got all this podcasting equipment, $1,300 in podcasting equipment that we've worked towards. That's been a joke and a half to try to get to work, but here we are. We've all got headsets and mics and everything like that. It's been quite nice.
And if any of you guys are interested in the equipment we're using, I will be posting on Facebook and Instagram pictures and recommendations for what you guys could use to start your own podcast if that's what you're interested in.
Yeah, if you want to find us on any of these social media platforms, just type in Infinity Summit Group and we should pop right up. It's just the oak tree with the mountain and infinity sign. Anything else, boys?
I think that's
good.
That's good.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us this day, and we'll see you guys on our first official podcast next week. Thank you.